We're doing what? Well, I have nothing refined. Oh, okay. So now that the lanterns are more refined... Yeah, is that what broken? I'm just gonna watch the whole thing. The fuck was that? That wasn't... That was like something on my computer. Wind. It's flickering. Okay. Start again. I see on that one, I see 4 thingadoos. Okay. And on that one, there are only 2. And the things on the bottom are broken as well. It seems. I mean, I can't tell exactly from this angle, but it looks like it's broken. I mean, that looks like it's broken. And if we are to assume that he is facing this way, that lantern should be whole. Correct? So it should be the third statement again on the fucking same site. But I'm gonna save just in case. I don't know. I don't like how, like, iffy and guessy this part is. This kind of sucks.
Objection!
That's correct, yeah. It's broken, so he's facing the wrong way. What could this possibly mean? That lantern clearly contradicts the insight. But this contradiction will overturn the entire case I've been building. It's not much of a case. Are you alright, Mr. Wright? One minute you shout and the next you fall silent. Perhaps it is like the bellow of the one who is barreling down a hill with no way of stopping. Is that not right, Prosecutor Sodmati? Fuck you. Don't get cold feet now, Phoenix. Even if this overturns the entire case you built so far. The only way is to keep moving forward, because that's where we'll find the truth. Sorry, but I'm not barreling down a hill. In fact, I'm in full control of everything with the irrefutable contradiction I found. Is that so? The lantern behind the accused clearly, no, blatantly contradicts your insight. Does it now? One of the lanterns in the entrance to side of the inner sanctum was broken. And if you watched what Abbot Inmes saw in his final moments. You'll notice that the lantern behind the praying form of Miss Fey is broken. The lantern behind Lady Kira, however, is still intact. Oh, yeah, okay, I was making sure. I was wondering. I didn't actually go and check that. In short, we are seeing 2 different lanterns in this seance vision. How could this be? And even if it were so, how would that contradict my insight? Let me start by saying, the claim I'm about to raise will overturn the case I've built thus far. Will the defense please explain himself? Based on the broken lantern, we can tell... I mean, What? Why would the second one makes no sense? Where the accused and the victim were standing. But did you not just finish asserting that the accused was standing somewhere else? I did, and I built my argument on that faulty premise. But thankfully, it has led us here. To the actual spot where Maya Fey was standing. I must say, if the defense keeps changing its assertions in such a capricious manner, its credibility may come into question. I am willing to take that risk, Your Majesty, because I believe this will be the last time. I'd like to start by pointing out the actual spot where the accused was standing. Oh boy. Very well. Show us where you now believe the accused was actually standing, where she was supposed to be. Based on location of the broken land. She was standing right here. Because it was to the, yeah, from him, looking this way. And it's the accused, it's Maya. She was standing where she was supposed to be. The guy saw someone from the right, because that's where the two good lanterns were, which is why he saw it before. He must have changed his direction when he was looking at the sutra, right?
Take that!
I wasn't thinking straight before, but now it's falling into place. We know the victim had stepped into the spring. That means Maya Fey had to have been standing in the water as he... What? However, okay, in his memory, which has only now become clear, reveals that Miss Fey was standing by the side of the broken lantern. In other words, she was standing where she was supposed to be according to the custom. Does that not bring us back to the very beginning? No, this is where things take a different turn, and I mean that literally. The victim had to have been moving toward the spring. That means that while he was moving, he had his back turned to the accused. What's this? Do you mean to say the victim turned around during the rite? Such an image appears nowhere in the seance vision. Actually, it does appear. It's just that no one noticed it until now. No one noticed? How could no one notice something so big? Because he was looking at the paper. Right? Yeah. There was a moment when the scripture and the victim was holding was all we could see. Thanks to that, none of us could tell that he was in fact turning around in that moment. If it is as the defense asserts, then her benevolence insights no longer make sense. How do you intend to explain that? I don't need an I didn't need to explain anything, because it's just as you said, Prosecutor Savmati. Her benevolence insights don't make any sense because they contain a huge error. Such insolence. A huge error, you say? Do explain. The huge error is the order of the rites, the crime scene, the number of people there. What? The order of the rites. I want to say the crime scene, but like, because we can tell that but it's like, it's so obvious the number of people there, because it's like, oh, there was a third person, the real killer, right? But that seems like, Mm. I feel like saying that the error is the crime scene means, like, literally just saying that it didn't take place on the place where it did take place. Which is not what I would want to say. I would say, like, he got where the person was looking wrong. He was looking to the right. Or he was looking towards the front of the spring. That's what I'm trying to say. A number of people there. Fuck it. I feel like that's just kind of like super obvious, right? Okay, yeah. I believe this is what happened at the scene of the crime. The victim was reading a suture when suddenly he sensed someone behind him. He immediately looked back to see someone dressed as Lady Kira standing there. Wishing to see who it was, he approached the robed figure. That was when he was stabbed. This cannot be. Oh, but it can, and is. The insight stating the accused stabbed the victim is wrong. And that is the real truth lying behind this testimony of the dead. Are you suggesting that there was someone else at the scene of the crime? Not really, honestly. I wish we could see the scene again, because, like, I don't think there was a third person. I think he turned around, and I think there was just a costume over, like, that bird, and it looked like one of the spikes from the bird looked like a knife, because, like, the thing didn't move its arm. It was stationary the entire time. And it looked like he was, like, he didn't look like he was going up to look at it. It looked like he was being pulled towards it against his will. So I think it was some sort of, like, contraption. That's what it looked like. Anyway. I don't think there was someone else. Have I misunderstood the voice of the Mitama yet again? This cannot be. Oh. Fuck. Phew. That was a close one. But I managed to divine the true meaning behind the seance's vision somehow. I should add these new facts to the court record. Are we done with the seance visions now? Like, that's the... how many times has this fucking inner sanctum diagram been updated? Your benevolence. Please allow me to take it from here. I will overturn the brass accusations of this faithless, putrid-minded lawyer. Yes, I shall place my trust in you. Are you sure about this, Prosecutor Sadmati? My work as an international prosecutor has taken me to courtrooms around the world. And in that time I have learned to perform last rites for souls in trials lacking a seance. Yes, of course. Forgive my ludicrous inquiry. Moreover, I have with me a forensic investigator from overseas. I will show you all the most magnificent last rites ever seen. I guess he really does think highly of Emma and her forensic expertise. I'm impressed that he's come to understand their value. Then again, he is an international prosecutor who solved tough cases around the world. Time to hunker down, huh? Now then, let us continue with today's proceedings. Could the defense please tell us who the third party dressed as Lady Kira was? Your new claim has negated the insights of the royal priestess. So I trust you have some evidence to support it, correct? Yes, of course. This third party must have really wanted to kill the High Priest. I might be able to identify who it was, if I had evidence of their murderous intent. Well, we're waiting, Mr. Wright. The evidence that can reveal the identity of the third party is this. Oh boy. I'm guessing the fucking letter, right? It's gotta be.
Take that!
3 days before the purification, right? The victim received a warning letter from an unidentified individual. He did? Whoever sent it clearly meant to threaten the High Priest. The letter said, "Don't perform the rite." But the rite went on as scheduled. I believe that is why the High Priest was murdered. Who do you suppose sent that letter? A person with something to hide. The rebel hunter disguised as Lady Kira herself. Peace. I don't understand. I had heard the Lady Kira that has been in the news of late only hunted rebels. Rebels? If so, why would she have killed the High Priest? Excellent question. Maybe it would help to think of it this way. Oh no. What if the High Priest had secretly been a rebel? The High Priest? He couldn't have possibly been a rebel. The High Priest? A devout follower of Khurainism? A rebel? Do you even comprehend the blasphemy of which you speak? Well, do you? I too found it a bit hard to believe at first. But as I continued my investigation, it started to become more and more plausible. The third party was the rebel-hunting Lady Kira, and the High Priest was a rebel? Your mockery of Khurainism. No. Of the kingdom of Khurain itself knows no bounds. Oops. That shameless piece of shit lawyer, he's making a mockery of our religion. As a faithful Khurainist, I take issue with these claims, and I am loath to admit them in today's proceedings. I don't like where this is going. The defense's claims are but vile blasphemy, tantamount to spitting on the Holy Mother. Is it really that big of a deal, Maya? Abbot Inmi was a distinguished monk, and very well respected too, so, yeah. Please don't let this turn into an international incident. But fear not, good people of Khurain. The ranting of this putrid-brained lawyer, who seeks to sully the soul of the deceased, shall come to no avail once I conclude these last rites. The prosecution's assertion that the accused killed the victim remains unchanged. But the victim was stabbed in his abdomen. How is that possible when he had his back turned to Miss Fey? Someone else must have killed him.
Objection.
Are you sure about that? You may have invalidated this seance, but do not let that go to your putrid head. The karmic flow of this trial is, as yet, still in my hands. How can he be so confident? Something has occurred to me, you see. And your allegations of a third party are but a deluded fantasy. I shall prove that by calling a new witness to the stand. An eyewitness who will deliver a definitive answer that will dispel the defense's doubts. An eyewitness? Very well. Let's call this eyewitness to the stand. Oh, it is. It's the weirdo. It's him again. Well now, he has been the shaggiest witness I've ever laid my eyes upon. Please state your name and occupation. Oh, I'm, you know, that's so-and-so. Whatchamacallit. A non... God. Anonymous. TBD. At least that's what they've been calling me. TBD, as in to be determined? Can't you tell us your real name? The witness has suffered a blow to the head, rendering him amnesiac. Therefore, I named him Anonymous to be TBD in my report, but he thinks TBD is part of his name.
Objection!
Can't you just call him Frank? You're letting an amnesiac testify? Have no fear, I have already questioned him at length. While it is true he has utterly forgotten his name and past, his memory of what he witnessed is still very much intact. Considering the dearth of information, any knowledge may be of help. Therefore, I will permit his testimony. Now, Mr. Immus, please tell us what you saw. Okay. The night of the murder. That night, I was up at the top of Mount Pony Pony, the mountain next to the inner sanctum. I hate crowds, so I climbed up there to pray in peace. I know it's a no-no, but since there was no one around, I used my binoculars to spy on the right at the inner sanctum. That's when I saw the accused stab the high priest with a dagger. But how could you? The elevations were too low. There's no way you saw Miss Faye stab the victim with a dagger. I swear I don't know what he's talking about. Or I don't remember at any rate. Mount Pony Pony, the beautiful mountain that is also known as the Little Sanctum? I mean, you can clearly see why he wouldn't be able to see. They must be talking about that smaller mountain from the poster. Mr. Immus, I was wondering. What can I do for you? Or what can I do you for? The inner sanctum lies at a high elevation where clouds and fog can obscure view. Are you sure you were able to see what happened from the mountaintop next to it? Good point. His Majesty raises an excellent question. Well, Mr. Immus? On the day of the rite, there wasn't a cloud in the sky. I had a perfect view. If you don't believe me, check the weather forecast in the paper that day. Nick, don't we have the newspaper for that day? Yeah, let's take a look. Clear skies today. The warmer the temperature will make an excellent fair weather. Be warned, however. See? Told you so. Still, you wouldn't be able to see it because a lot of things. Well, it would appear the witness has offered testimony worth hearing. Mr. Immus, I too have a question for you. Didn't he already question the witness? Well, that's what I'm here for, right? Shoot! How was the accused holding the dagger? Was she holding it underhand? Was she holding it underhanded, its blade protruding from the bottom of her hand? Yep, I believe she was. It's called a reverse grip. Ah, I thought as much.
Hold it!
Hold it right there. What bearing does that have on this case? Cease your interruptions, you putrid-headed lawyer. Do you not see the significance in how the blade was held? Why don't you enlighten me, O enlightened one? I knew you were a fool. I can already picture you in your next life. Next life? Yes, after your soul riots for centuries in the pits of hell. You shall be reborn as a witless sea urchin, with barbs limited to your posterior. You shall live a short, inconsequential life, only to be brutally devoured by a sea otter. That was a bit excessive. I simply asked what the dagger grip had to do with the case. Now, pay attention. How the accused held the dagger is of vital importance. With such information, we can infer exactly what action she took. You were saying that the victim was killed while he had his back to the accused. Is that correct? Yes. As such, the accused's dagger grip tells us something very important. The accused approached the victim from behind, swung her arms around him, and plunged the dagger using a reverse grip. Thus, Mr. Immis's testimony clears up any doubts that might remain. And it coincides with her benevolence insights as well. This is a disaster. I thought I'd blown those insights out of the water, but now they're back to haunt me. Now then, the defense may cross-examine the witness. He shouldn't have been able to see it at that elevation, right? It's too low. The Night of the Moida.
Hold it!
Are you sure you're not mistaken, Mr. Immis? Was it really Mount Pony Pony that you climbed? Oh, I'm sure of it. It was a really pony-ish mountain. What does that even mean? You know, now that I think about it, it was a mighty fine view.
Hold it!
If you hate crowds, why bother climbing to the top? Couldn't you have just as easily prayed at the bottom of Mount Pony Pony? Wrong, bucko. This is a once-a-year epic event. I wanted to pray as close to the actual thing as possible. If you're so gung-ho about it, why didn't you go pray at the Plaza of Devotion? Like I said, I hate crowds. I wanted to pray in peace. Oh, Holy Mother. Why do I only get the annoying ones? My burning faith demanded that I climb up to the mountain closest to the inner sanctum. Also, I know it's a no-no, but since there was no one around...
Hold it!
What could I possibly have to say about this? Since nobody was around, there's nobody who can corroborate your actions either. Hee-ho, you're exactly right! In that case, Mr. Immis, let me ask you this. Was there a reason you didn't want to be seen? About that. If you get caught climbing the surrounding mountains on the day of the rite, you can get into big trouble. Har 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 har. That's it? Yeah, that's totally embarrassing getting yelled at when you're grown up. Yeah, you're a real grown-up, alright. And since nobody was around, I lost all inhibition and... I used my binoculars to spy on the right at the inner sanctum.
Hold it!
You had a pair of binoculars with you? That's pretty convenient. You weren't planning to spy on the right all along, were you? Actually, I just happen to have them for bird watching. At night. Bird watching, huh? I see. You're not going to keep pressing him on this. He's sketchy as heck, but I don't really have anything I can really sink my teeth into yet. Oh, okay then. I have loved the great outdoors. That's just kind of guy I am. A guy called Anonymous TBD. He's really starting to get on my nerves. As I looked through my binoculars, I couldn't believe what was unfolding before me. That's when I saw the accused stab the high priest with a dagger.
Hold it!
Did you really see what you say you did? Are you saying I'm lying about this? Well, I'm not. It's etched permanently in this old noggin. But I didn't do what you say I did. I didn't even get a chance to touch the dagger on the day of the rite. What do I know of that? All I know is what I saw. I never even seen you before in my life. What possible reason could I have to lie? I didn't expect there to be any witnesses way up there. But I don't remember doing all that at all. I know, I have a feeling the witness is lying. There has to be an inconsistency somewhere in his testimony. I should take another look at the court record. Okay, we've gone through it all. It's gotta be the fact... I'm gonna make a save, though. I mean, I already fucked up the very first thing. And I would have been lost on that lantern thing, too, anyway. It's gotta be the elevations, right? Yeah, you would not be able to fucking see if you were looking. There's no way.
Objection!
No? Ugh. Oh, it's... fuck. No, not... How do I... load... I could just as easily say, look. It's specifically the fact that there's a screen there, right? Is that it? Whoa, hang on. There.
Objection!
Yeah, that's it. Okay. Your Majesty, I had my doubts about this bushy, bearded witness, but now I know we can't trust him. What? You ain't just judging me solely on my bodacious beard, are you? Not at all, Mr. Immis. It's much more than your sketchy appearance. It's your sketchy testimony. His testimony, you say? Yes, recall how the inner sanctum was that day. Specifically that it was completely enclosed by the ritual curtain. Why yes, I believe you're right. The curtain would have completely blocked the witness's view from Mount Pony Pony. Therefore, he couldn't possibly have seen the murder happen. You see, when I was pointing at the elevations, I was just like saying like, everything in this picture shows that he couldn't have seen it. Even if like the mountains were at like a slightly like close elevation, he could say that maybe he like climbed up to something and he was able to look over it. You know, look over the little partition here. But it's like, there's no way he could have possibly fucking seen it because he was way lower than this thing. Is everything about this picture is what I wanted. Alright. Mr. Immis, have you been knowingly making false statements to this court? You got me. The witness will lower his voice. I didn't actually see the accused herself. He didn't actually see the accused herself? What's that supposed to mean? Let me set the record straight, I beg you. Night of the murder. I'm in it. I saw their shadowy silhouettes projected against the ritual curtain. The figures were created by the light of the full moon on that clear and still night. She was just a shadow, but I could tell it was the accused, reverse gripping that dagger. Shadows? That's what you saw? That's right. I could see what was going on by the shadows projected on the ritual curtain. In the future, Mr. Immis, I would rather you offer up accurate testimony from the start. Forgive me, my main man, Mr. Majesty. Chalk it up to my fuzzy memory. Though he saw but shadows, it is still valuable testimony. You have to be kidding me. What are we going to do now, Nick? All I can think of is to look for inconsistencies between the actual right and what Mr. Immis says he saw. Now then, the defense may cross-examine the witness once more. So what you saw were simply shadows? That's right. Those shadowy figures on that bright white curtain. They showed through plain as day. I could see everything that happened. But Miss Fey and Abernemy were at the top of the mountain late at night. The only light up there was coming from the four small lanterns. How could the shadows have been projected that clearly onto the curtain? No wonder people harp on you lawyers. You're always so dang skeptical. The lanterns weren't the only source of light, you know? Created by the light of the full moon on that clear and still night.
Hold it!
You claim to have seen shadowy figures that were projected onto a ritual curtain? But did you really see them, Mr. Amos? Of course I did. The bright moonlight projected them onto that curtain, clear as day. It was like watching a scene out of a horror movie from my front row seat on Mount Pony Pony. I guess the moon does shine a bit brighter when you're way up there. Maya, do you recall how bright the moon was that night? I remember there weren't any clouds, and that the moon was definitely out. But I don't remember if it could cast any shadows. Okay, thanks. I can't deny that the moon was really bright. Which means it's possible that it was bright enough to cause shadows to appear. I remember just like it happened. She was just a shadow, but I could tell it was the accused, reverse gripping that dagger.
Hold it!
Hang on. How do you know it was Miss Fey if all you saw were shadows? It was that little bun on top of her head. Nah, there you go, buddy. You fucked yourself. Didn't need to see her face. That distinctive bob's a dead giveaway. Never underestimate my keen sense of observation. Now that's one funny haircut. It's not fun to make fun of a girl's hairstyle. I like my hair this way. Besides, you're the one to talk, you Sasquatch. You're not into this wild, manly look I'm sporting? Shows what you know, little girl. Nick, isn't there some kind of crime you can charge him with? I'm afraid it doesn't work that way. Now he claims he only saw shadows. His testimony has sketchy written all over it. And there must be an inconsistency in there somewhere. Yep. Was he really watching everything from Mount Pony Pony? If so, then I should see how his testimony lines up with the contradictions or conditions of the rite. What? No! I was waiting for him to add his statement about seeing her bobbed hair and being like, hey, the person who murdered the... Oh wait, never mind. Wait. Yeah, no, they're still thinking that she was wearing the costume, which means her bob wouldn't have shown, right? Let's take a look. And I'm gonna actually just read what they say one more time. Oh, hang on. Wait, it's saying that the full moon... shit, fuck! Okay, it's held when the moon is directly over the summit of Mount Pony Pony. Yeah, if it's directly over the summit of Mount Pony Pony, then that means the shadows would be projecting against the opposite side, which means he wouldn't have been able to see it. Yeah, that's it. We got it. I think. I hope. Unless I'm thinking weirdly again, which is totally possible. But I think I got it. I think that's it. So, she's just hang on, wait. I mean, each of these. And now I gotta pick the statement. The most clearly thing that he's saying that he saw shadows is the first thing. I saw their shadowy silhouettes projected against the ritual curtain. We're saying no, you did not, because the moon was over Pony Pony, which means that it's got to be this specific one.
Objection!
Nope. Okay, so again, I'm trying to say this I'm trying to say the same thing. It's just I have to pick the specific statement. The figures were created by the light of the full moon on that click. Okay, so this one clearly talks about seeing the shadows. This one clearly talks about the moon being the source. So maybe need to direct the attention more towards the moon then?
Objection!
Okay, yes, that's what we needed to do. I could have just as easily said, hey, the moon was here, so you couldn't have seen shadows. On the first statement. Unless Phoenix is going to say something else. You saw silhouettes projected by the moonlight. Sorry, but that's just not possible. What do you mean? How is it not possible that it was totally possible? That's impossible. I think I'm going to need a logical-less translation on that. I don't know what that joke was. Okay, let's take a look at the Right's Guide, shall we, Mr. Immis? The Right's held where the moon is directly above the summit of Mount Pony Pony. Doot, doot, doot. So if the moon was shining from the west, any shadows would have cast eastward. Yeah, I could have just as easily said this by contradicting the first statement. Whatever. Alright, that didn't count as a mistake. I got it right. Fuck you. Okay, but Mr. Amos was standing on the west side of the inner sanctum on Mount Pony Pony. Oh, Holy Mother. That's right. Our witness here couldn't have seen any shadowy figures on that curtain. No way! Hey, hey! Perhaps it was the sacred flames of the lanterns that cast the shadows he saw. I'm afraid not. I inspected them during my investigation, but the flames were too small to cast the crisp, distinct figures that Mr. Immis claims to have seen. But I did see those silhouettes, really. But how could he, Nick? Maybe he was someplace where they were visible. Wait, don't tell me. Your Majesty, if Mr. Immis really did see those shadows, it brings a brand new fact to light. And that would be... The brand new fact that comes to light if Mr. Immis really did see those shadows is... he was somewhere else. Like, yeah. He wasn't where he claimed to be at the time of the murder. Doo. Oh, then where do you propose the witness was? Someplace where he could have seen the shadowy figures, naturally. Wait, you mean... None of the mountains east of the inner sanctum are close enough for a good view. That leaves only one place he could have clearly seen the shadows from. And where might that be? Oh no. This is where Mr. Immis was at the time of the murder. Plaza of Devotion, the High Priest's home, the inner sanctum. Mr. Immis was at the inner sanctum, just outside the curtain on the east side. That's the only place from which he could have seen the shadowy figures. Hoo-ha! Really? Wow, I didn't even think of that. But wasn't the inner sanctum off limits to all but the victim and the accused? And the third party who was there, you mean? And the third party who was there, you mean? I get the feeling that that's the subject Prosecutor Sadmati would rather not touch right now. Ah, you mean... That's right. This witness was at the scene of the crime. Which means he is the mysterious third party we saw during the divination seance. He could have been the one who dressed as Lady Kira and killed the High Priest. What?
Objection.
No one but the two participants were allowed anywhere near the inner sanctum. And the only way up there are the stairs that start down at the Plaza of Devotion. So tell me, how do you propose the witness entered that sacred space? Oh, he must have, I haven't thought that far ahead. The sanctum has sheer cliffs on 3 sides, and a steep towering rock face on the other. No one could have made it there by climbing the faces of those cliffs. His Majesty speaks true. To say Mr. Immus was at such an inaccessible location is but a bid to tarnish his credibility. Is that not right? Right. I wasn't at the inner sanctum. No sir, no how. At least I'm pretty sure I wasn't. Then what about those silhouettes you claim to have seen? I'm starting to think I've been imagining things. What? This is insane. I knew we couldn't trust that lawyer. He's trying to frame the witness. The witness who's apparently just been making shit up. Peace, peace, I say. This is impossible. Unless I can show how he got to the inner sanctum. It just looks like I'm trying to slander Mr. Immus. I believe in you, Nick. Rah, sis, boo, bah, fight, fight, Phoenix. Just look at the accused. Has she no shame? What's your problem, lady? Phoenix Wright is very trustworthy, I'll have you know. She's got some nerve for a criminal. I bet that lawyer poisoned her mind. Please, Maya, you're only making it worse. I appreciate the vote of confidence, but it's probably best to keep it to yourself for now. I'd advise the defense to think carefully before making any sudden outbursts. Yes, Your Majesty. If I wasn't the bad guy before, I definitely am now. Now, Mr. Immus, I would like you to think back carefully before you testify next about where you were that night. I wasn't at the inner sanctum. I was never at that inner sanctum, I tell ya. That much I'm sure of, even with this fuzzy memory. Besides, it would have been impossible to get there in the first place. Boy, you lures sure are scary. I guess it might have been impossible for him to get to the inner sanctum like he claims, but... Now, will you desist in trying to frame this innocent witness? Yeah, I'd like to see you explain how he got up there. Maybe he went up there before them. I don't know. And he jumped over the wall, or something. I don't know. Mr. Wright, is it not time to end these cross-examinations? A moment of desperation leads to 100 million years of torment. It means that for each moment a sinner spends struggling to deny their sins, 100 million years of torment are added to their time in hell. Quarianism is the strictest religion ever. And just so you know, you've already accrued 200 million extra years. Plus the 500 million years they started with, that's 700 million years. Sure, what's another 200 million years, give or take? Well, it's a big deal to me. Can't keep saying that the witness was there at the inner sanctum if I can't prove it. The problem is, how am I going to do that? We'll find a way. We'll get something by pressing him this time. I wasn't at the inner sanctum. Are we getting... I was never at the inner sanctum, I tell ya. Are you sure you weren't there? I'm sure of it that you... all I'm sure of is that you're deeply skeptical. Hey, Mr. Prosecutor, are all lawyers always like this? Most certainly. They're always trying to pin crimes on innocent witnesses without any proof whatsoever. They're no better than bacteria or viruses. Yikes, you mean he's contagious? Is he gonna give me lawyeritis? Okay, this is getting ridiculous. Phew, that was a close one. He almost put me there at the scene of the crime when I wasn't even there. Even with this fuzzy memory. You just said your memory was fuzzy. I sure did. What's the big deal? I'll tell you what. Your testimony isn't very credible if your memory of the events is fuzzy. Oh, no worries there. My memory may be fuzzy, but I'm very clear on one thing. Here we go again. If you ask me whether or not I remember what I did that night, I'd say I do. In short, you are confident that your testimony is true. Is that correct, Mr. Immis? Har har har, exactly. Guess you don't get to be a judge for nothing. So in closing, I can clearly say that I was totally not there. I wonder if it really was impossible for you to get to the inner sanctum. If you have something to say, just say it. Couldn't there have been another way to get there? A way that wouldn't attract attention? No, there isn't. Which means there is. Perhaps the defense would share its theory with us. I don't even have a wild guess, let alone a theory, though. Time to reach into my bag of bluffs. To reach the inner sanctum without attracting any attention... He fell from the sky. Maybe. Actually... let's take a look at this guy. I'm thinking like that's maybe why he has those goggles. He actually may have fell from the sky. But I'm thinking he just came from the plaza beforehand. Could be possible. I'm not going to get any points deducted for this, so I'm just going to say he came from the plaza. Maybe you snuck up to the inner sanctum via the stairs in the Plaza of Devotion. With all those people at the plaza? I don't think so. But they were all completely absorbed in prayer. With a little stealth, you could have slipped by without drawing any attention. I'm afraid that would have been impossible. During the rite, the gate to the stairs was locked tight from the inner sanctum side. What? Yeah, if I tried to force the lock open, someone there would have noticed, even if they were in deep prayer. Please add that to your testimony, Mr. Immis. Okay, well, at least I got that. The plaza gate is locked from the side facing the inner sanctum.
Hold it!
Who can verify the gate was actually locked? I mean, what if it wasn't? The High Priest himself was seen locking it before the rite began. And we have many believers from the plaza who can corroborate this. Guess you struck out again, Mr. Lawyer Man. What if there was a spare key to the gate? But I'm in no position to prove that, so... what now? You can continue to claim that the witness was at the inner sanctum. Or you continue to, yet said claim shall remain but a claim without any supporting evidence, Mr. Wright. Yes, I realize that, Your Majesty. I can't find any inconsistencies. Guess I can always try to elicit something... I can try to elicit more testimony. Let's say that he fell from the sky. Maybe you fell from the sky. The lawyer thinks he's a comedian now. I was wondering what crazy theory you would propose next. Well, defense, let's hear it. Mr. Amos could have, parachuted down. We already know the weather was clear and that there was no wind to speak of. Perfect weather for skydiving, I'd say. Now that you have been backed into a corner, your delusions grow ever more delusional. The inner sanctum is on a tiny ledge upon a sheer cliff over 2,000 meters tall. One misstep, and a skydiver would soon find themselves in the Twilight Realm. Yeah, I don't care how still the wind was. Even I couldn't have made that jump. Wait, what's the building on top of the Sacred Mountain? That is Royal Penitentiary number 4. Oh right, the Princess Rafa mentioned there was a prison up there. How do you get your prisoners up there, anyway? By helicopter, but only with authorization from the Minister of Justice. He is the only one who can approve flights that pass over the inner sanctum. Might I also add, defense, that no parachute or any other equipment necessary for skydiving have been found. Are you saying I flew down there by flapping my arms? I may be an incredible dude, but I'm not even capable of that. Well, please add that statement to your testimony, Mr. Amos. It's not like I can fly through the air, either.
Hold it!
Maybe you can. You wouldn't need to flap your arms if you had some gear. As I have already stated, nothing of the sort was found in or around the scene of the crime. I'd sure like to see some of that so-called gear you're talking about. I know, but was there really nothing like that at the inner sanctum? What if there was something like that could have been used as a parachute? I should give the evidence another look. Come on.